Hello and welcome, Andy, Catherine, Abby. I'm going to just keep yelling out everybody's names until the list stops populating. Paul, Melissa, Mark, Rachel, Rich, Richard, Verdon. I think that, yeah, wow, this does it in alphabetical order. That's awesome. Zachariah, Stephanie, hello, everybody. Welcome. Please let me know if you can hear me. And if you can see me, or more importantly, the screen I am sharing. Anjali, Cindy, Dave, Dane, Georgia, Glenn. Hello and welcome. Just wait another couple of seconds for people that are just catching up, and we'll get underway. We've had over 220 people RSVP for this webinar. It's actually a personal best for me in terms of people registering. I think it's probably because of the topic and also the caliber of people we've got presenting. So pretty excited about this webinar. Fantastic. Hey, thanks guys. Thanks, Cindy. You can hear and see me. Hello. Hello, Kimberly. Right, I'm going to give it one more 30-second block. Sorry about my humming. Right, well, okay, I think we're going to crack into this. We've got a lot to get going with. I hope your morning has been as awesome as mine. I went to, if you're based in Auckland and haven't done this, you should totally do this. I went to Morning People this morning at 6:30 in the morning and went to a dance party. It was madness. There were a whole bunch of 40-year-olds in Lycra partying and working out. It was great. Highly recommend it. Hopefully see you there at the next month. But anyway, I'll actually crack on to this presentation. Hello everyone, my name is Julian and I am the Community Manager for Shopify in Aotearoa, predominantly Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, but mainly New Zealand. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Making Shipping Your E-Commerce Superpower. Shipping is an area that is often overlooked by new merchants until it becomes a problem. We've all been there. And if your store scales quickly, that problem can become massive and can undo all your hard work. So today we want to guide you through shipping related things you should be thinking about and tackling in advance, not only to avoid the problems that come with fulfillment, but actually make it your business's superpower. So today we have two shipping experts that I'm going to introduce to you shortly. But firstly, I'll just show you the format for today, and then we'll get into the introductions. So firstly, I'll introduce Hawk and Carrie in an amazing way. Then we'll be presented by Hawk, who is from Starshipit, and then from Carrie regarding New Zealand Post and their offering. And then we're going to dive into question and answers. And if you've ever been to one of my events, or if you know me, this is the thing I really love and thrive on, is answering your questions around the topic or just around e-commerce in general, and giving you something tangible that you can take away and implement in your business. Presentations are awesome and you get things from them, but for me as a business owner and as a merchant, I've always found that the question and answer part has been the best part. So I'm going to ensure you stick around for that. So without further ado, introducing Hawken, or AKA Hawk Steele. First and foremost, a father of two, but also sales and partnership manager at Starshipit for the last 4 years. Where did those 4 years go? Did you know that over 3,000 merchants worldwide use Starshipit for their freight integrated solution? I didn't know that. It's a massive amount of merchants. And Hawk's got over 10 years experience within the international freight and logistics space. He's passionate about e-commerce and technology that helps online businesses sell more with faster, easier, and more reliable shipping. Håkan, if you could turn your camera on and give everybody a wave, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome, Hawk. Really looking forward to your presentation shortly. But moving right along, I don't want to leave Carrie dragging. Carrie Dressler from New Zealand Post. Carrie joined the New Zealand Post team as a notifications and integrated solutions product manager last year. Her personal mission is to produce innovative digital products that contribute to a seamless online shopping experience. And there's an ulterior motive here. It's not just because she works for New Zealand Post, it's because Carrie loves to shop. She's an avid collector of ceramics, records, and other antiques on the side. She loves shopping online, in real life, and especially at swap meets. Carrie, if you can turn on your camera and wave to everybody and introduce yourself, I'd really appreciate it.
Good morning, everyone.
Awesome, Carrie. Thank you so much. So moving right along, we're going to get into Håkan's presentation from Starshipit. I'm not going to take away his thunder by telling you what you're going to see. We're just going to get into it. If you have questions, though, that you want answered, we actually have a team of people from Starshipit and New Zealand Post. You might see there's a whole bunch of panelists. We've got a team waiting for your questions. Feel free to fire them out on the chat. And then if you do want to wait till the question answers, just maybe write them down and leave them for them. But we have a whole bunch of people waiting to answer your questions. But anyway, moving right along to Håkan's presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Jules. Appreciate the intro. Big thanks to Shopify for having us today and for everybody that's joining us this morning. I know everybody is super busy, so I'm going to dive right in. Actually, Jules mentioned my name's Hawk Steele. I'm the channel partner manager at Starshipit. So there are a few topics I'm going to sort of speak about today. The first one being what to do at your checkout when it comes to shipping, what to do in your warehouse, and what to do after dispatch. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the differences between sort of eShip and Starshipit, because I know there's a lot of confusion.
Technical difficulties happening here. I'm just wondering, can you guys see my screen? If you can see the presentation, I'd really appreciate to know this, because I'm being told that people can't.
So Julian, it's not appearing for me.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, anybody else that's not a panelist? You can see the presentation, Deborah? Okay, great. Okay, I'll just keep going back to this. Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Confusion out there, amongst the Shopify merchants, so sort of clear that up. I'll do a little bit of a demo as well, just to show you how your fulfillment operation could look in your business. So I'll dive in. The first part I want to talk about is what to do at your checkout. So the key word I want to sort of emphasize here is choice, really. I don't mean choice, I mean options at your checkout. So, and also what to charge for shipping at your checkout. Now, for a long time, online retailers have been trying to balance the speed of delivery with the cost of shipping, and these are two absolutely extremely important factors that you need to balance. But now really there's a third factor to consider, and shoppers are saying that it's really delivery options at your checkout is as important, if not more important, than the speed alone. And this is sort of coming from lots of shoppers, but also there's some pretty powerful studies out there sort of backing this up. So giving customers options lets them decide and make their own balance between, speed, the desire they've got for that product, the cost and convenience. So it's putting that choice in their hands. So, they might be happy to wait, and having a standard option, pay a cheaper price, it's a great place to start. But course, everybody is absolutely different, and their desire for that product is going to be different. So having an express option at their checkout, whether it be an overnight or even same day, that's going to suit some people, and we know that they're absolutely willing to pay for a faster option and have that available to them. And of course, there's a big chunk of the population who aren't home during the day at all when these deliveries generally take place, and they can't stand those cards. Sorry, I missed your cards. So, perhaps having a twilight or a weekend option for those guys is also going to work for those customers. So, there's lots of different options, but just having a think about giving them 2 or 3 choices is going to be really, really useful for them. So I don't know if there's any parents out there, but I often think about this like, trying to get a toddler ready for school. If you tell them what they're going to wear, there might be a tantrum, right? But if you give them an option or a couple of options, then they're generally happy, right? So the same goes for your customers. That's the way I look at it. Right, so these are just examples of some of the options that you might offer at your checkout. But if you're going to offer different services at your checkout, you need to make sure you are partnering with couriers that can really back up those services and those promises that you're making to your customers. So we know that different courier companies have different strengths and weaknesses. And you need to be playing to each one's strengths, really. Here in New Zealand, I guess, within the New Zealand Post family, there's lots of different services, which New Zealand Post will tell you about afterwards. But just making sure that you're playing to each one's strengths. But the other thing is really what you're charging at checkout. Now, as a lot of you are doing, flat rate and, reach a threshold, it's driving those cart sizes up, and it's a great way to do it. But it's not necessarily going to work in an instance where you're selling a wide range of SKUs, shapes and sizes, or, you're selling to lots of different countries in an international sort of market. So that's just going to cost you, if you're doing a flat rate, it's going to end up costing you probably quite a lot of money, because you'll be losing on a lot of destinations and different products. So there is another option, and that is to have a live dynamic price on your checkout. Now, what I mean by this is you've negotiated some rates with your couriers, and what you can do is on your website, there is a possibility of actually taking the weight of the product that you've already put in there. So from a cart size, taking the weight, delivery address and pickup address, and that all goes through to different couriers, and they'll send back a dynamic price from your contract. Now, this is a great way to have very accurate pricing against those options. And what I would say is these are all done via an API and put on your checkout at pace, so it's not going to slow your site down whatsoever. And I'll show you what I mean just in an example here from one of our customers. So Manuka Honey of New Zealand is, they've got a couple of different options. They've got a non-tracked option here, and also an express option with DHL. So, yeah, 2 very, very different services that they're offering. And as you can see from the price here, these are live shipping quotes that have been quoted. Now, what I would say is you can actually manipulate that price to an extent. So you might choose to add a certain percentage, to cover the packaging or whatever it might be. You can also decrease it just to make yourself more competitive. But it means that you will have a dynamic price depending on the size of the cart and the destination that it's going to. So, the other option as well is, in some cases, it's possible to put a dynamic transit time in your checkout as well. So that's worth looking at as well. I mean, you can put generic ones, between 5 and 20 days, but there is an option to put a dynamic one. Okay. So the next place I want to talk about, the next topic I want to talk about is what to do in the warehouse, really. So when I say warehouse, I mean dispatch area. You might be still in the garage or spare room. So wherever you're dispatching from. Now, the key word here really is automation with integration. And I'm not talking about automated warehouses like the Amazon robots that you're seeing on videos on LinkedIn at the moment, although very impressive. I'm more talking about the automatic syncing of data between Shopify and your courier companies. So I would say it really doesn't matter where in your business's journey that you currently are. It's never really too early to start thinking about automation. I see this every day. People that don't have time to look for or implement an automation tool, they're generally the ones that absolutely need it the most, because they're so time poor. I think this cartoon sort of sums it up perfectly. So, this is automation versus doing it manually. Now, what do I mean by doing it manually? It's the manual data entry or copying and pasting of data from Shopify into your, let's say, your courier's portal to be able to create a shipping label. Those couriers need a certain amount of information to be able to create that label, and so it's about getting it to them. So obviously, manually entering it or copying and pasting data is just hugely time consuming and inefficient. And, it's going to mean you're going to spend way too much time working in your business rather than on it, which of course is the right place to spend it, working on your business. And it's where the enjoyment is, right? No one got into e-commerce because they loved printing shipping labels. So yeah, not only that, the time-saving aspect, but there's a lot of errors that can happen, especially when you're rushing. It's going to lead to lost parcels, and which leads to unhappy customers, which leads to bad reviews. So there's a whole knock-on effect, which you need to think about it. And of course, you're just not going to be able to scale your business. You're going to hit that ceiling pretty quickly if you're trying to do things manually for too long. So as far as automating it goes, an integration, it's going to automatically sync your customer's contact details and address information and all the product information from your Shopify store and transfer it to your courier system. So this is, from a time-saving point of view, we all know time is actually our most valuable asset at the moment in life and in business. And so to waste it doing manual repetitive tasks that a machine can do, it's criminal, really. So I'm going to a little bit about a customer that I know has done this very, very well and has become very successful. Hopefully you may have had the pleasure of meeting Aya Lu at one of the events or something. So so Aya is founded Lux Fitness and Waist Trainer, two very successful businesses and wonderful, very smart person. Now, this is really, I guess it's quite a classic story that probably a lot of you can relate to in the early days. At least, I was fulfilling her orders by handwriting addresses on prepaid bags or satchels. And she knew that manual process just wasn't sustainable. And after probably doing it too long, she did implement an automation tool and a recommendation. Actually, she implemented that automation tool in her business, and this meant that all of her Shopify orders automatically synced, and she could fulfill hundreds of orders in a couple of hours, including all the picking and packing, and she needed to, right? And in addition to that time saving, she obviously, again, she saw all those undeliverable parcels reduce and met much happier customers. So obviously, two very successful businesses now, and I think it's fair to say that they really use shipping as one of their e-commerce superpowers. So the picture on the left here, everybody sort of wants to get to that stage where there's a courier van full of orders, but there's no way that you could do that manually, not without really significantly adding headcount to your business, which is not an efficient or cost-effective way of doing things. So what I'll do, I'm just going to show you a little bit about how that might look in your business if you're doing things manually. So let's bear with me for a second. I'm just going to jump over to a different screen here. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen here. So this is probably a very familiar screen to you. So it's the back end of Shopify. So what I'm looking at here is our unfulfilled orders. Now, there's a few different ways we could fulfill these. So we could actually open an order and go into it. You might make any changes, but you want to just print a shipping label. You can print it directly from the dialog box within Shopify itself, or even a packing slip here. The other way would be to bulk print these labels. And what I mean by that is actually select lots of orders and print the shipping labels from here. So there's a few different workflows. We can also create the addresses from here, but I'll show you a different way of doing that. If I just go into an order, and I'm going to actually open up a slightly different view. Bear with me for a second. So the way a lot of customers are using it, instead of doing that within the order itself, I've just opened up an order actually in Starshipit from here. So here we've got all of the orders as you saw before in Shopify, but they've come through to Starshipit, but you are still within your Shopify dashboard if you want to be. So the first job that Starshipit will automate for you is the choice of carriers. So we've got lots of different couriers set up in here, and we've automatically assigned orders to different ones. Now that's done basically using the logic that you would use. So we do that by rules. So we automate that, and you can always override the choice that we make. And the next job is to validate these addresses. As you can see, we've got lots of invalid addresses. So I don't know, you might be validating them at checkout, which is fantastic. It's a really good thing to do. But as you know, people can still find their way around those address validation tools. So it's not an exact science with those tools, but yeah, it's certainly worth having. So what I'm going to do with these bad ones, I'm going to group them all together and hit autocorrect. Now, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the suburb is missing, or it might be a typo around the postcode, especially for New Zealand, we're terrible with postcodes. So I could save all those changes, which I won't do, but you could essentially wash sort of 12, 15 addresses or even 100 addresses within a couple of clicks. Whereas those 12 could take somebody up to, maybe 2 hours to wash those addresses if they Google them or ring the customer, whatever it might be. So there's a huge time saving there. The next thing we want to do is actually bulk print the shipping labels here, or we can bulk print the packing slips. So the other way to print the labels would be to bulk print those packing slips and then go around, pick all your orders from the shelf, bring them back to a packing station where you could essentially scan the order number from the packing slip into here, and it prints out a shipping label. So scan, print, scan, print, scan, print. And that's just another way, instead of doing the bulk print aspect, workflow. So there's lots of different sort of workflows that it can fit into your business. So there's plenty more to it, but I won't go too deep for now. So let me just quickly jump back in. There you go. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about really quickly is what to do after dispatch. So as you know, the sale absolutely isn't over after that credit card's been entered. The purchases, the customer's going through probably quite an emotional time during that purchase period. We hear a lot about the endorphins that are flowing during that time, but so are the days that are following the purchase. So they can be filled with anxiousness and worry. So this is a really good opportunity to turn that shopping experience from a mediocre one into a great one. Now, if you set their mind at ease during this period, then you've done a great job and relieving that anxiousness and turned it into a really great shopping experience. But not only that, you're also driving them to come back for more, right? And that's the absolute ultimate goal. So with the post-purchase experience, now, they've handed over their hard-earned money to essentially what's an invisible business, and they want assurance that they're going to get what they paid for. So typically, Shopify will send out the first email and with the tracking link, and that's great. But you could do better than that. And what I mean is by sending a series of emails at certain milestones of the parcel's journey. Now, you might send one when it's been picked up, when it's in transit, maybe when it's out for delivery. And these are very engaging emails that you will design. They're not coming from the courier. They're using your language that you're using, all the way through your branding. So not only is it a sort of proactive way to keep your customers informed, but it's also engaging as well. But not on another sort of benefit to that would be we're also hearing that the number of support calls coming through your customer service line, where's my parcel, those are actually declining as well if you're using these notifications properly. So of course you don't want to overdo it with the notifications. Between 3 and 5 over a few days, so 4 really is going to be the ultimate. So the next part to this really is, your customer has received their updates and that's great, but I can almost guarantee they're tracking their order more than that. Probably at least once a day, probably maybe 2 or 3 times a day if it's closer to the weekend where they've got a time-sensitive product that they're looking for. So it's a wasted opportunity to send them to a generic tracking portal that's been designed by your courier company. That's only going to serve to take them away from your brand that you've worked really hard to build. So the way around that is to design your own branded tracking page. And what I mean by that, they've got an update and there's a link there which they can click on, which would normally take them to the courier's portal, but you can design your own page where that will pop up when you click on the link. And here you've got all of the same scans that they would see on the courier's tracking portal, so they know exactly where it is. But you can also tell them about the exclusive deals they're getting. You can suggest popular buys, maybe a thank you discount code, all your social channels, encourage them to sign up to a database. All linked, and the idea is to drive them back to your website to try and upsell them again. So this is a really powerful feature which can really increase your sales when it comes to a shipping aspect. So if the other one that I've heard recently is if your customer's been on a shopping spree, they might have bought 5 or 6, 7 things. They've got a whole lot of tracking links which they're clicking on, and if they go to a generic courier's portal, they don't really know which one they're tracking, which order they're tracking. So by having for example, this White Fox here, they know that they're tracking the one that they bought from White Fox, if that makes sense. Okay. So just an example here, again, the White Fox example, you'll see all of the scans coming through and it's an engaging, pretty email landing page up against, if you put yourself in White Fox's shoes, would you rather have them going to that branded tracking page or, the tracking portal, I think, from the courier company. Okay, so the last thing I just want to talk about really quickly is, judging by the number of questions floating around Facebook and things, I do see there seems to be some confusion between eShip and Starshipit. So they are both integrated shipping and tracking tools, which integrate with Shopify brilliantly. eShip is New Zealand Post specific, New Zealand Post Courier Post and Paste specific, whereas Starshipit has a wider range of couriers. So if you do want to use a different courier that's not under that New Zealand Post family, then you would need Starshipit. If you wanted to have live shipping rates at your checkout, then again you'd need Starshipit for that. And also if you wanted to fulfill your orders from within your Shopify user interface, then you would need Starshipit for that. But from a Shopify integration, eShip is absolutely fantastic and it's free. But yeah, so that's basically the difference. The biggest one being the couriers that are supported on each platform. Right, so that's it for me really. Very quickly on the sort of key takeaways, I suppose. At checkout, choice and live estimates on your checkout are a great idea. Certainly worth considering. Live estimates of both the rates and transit times worth considering. Number two, stop wasting your time and automate that dispatch process. I can't stress that enough. And number three, treating those 2 or 3 days post purchase just as another opportunity to engage and sell to your customers. It's a really good way to keep your customers engaged by using those notifications. So look, feel free, jump to our website. You can book a call and speak to somebody about any one of those topics. We'll be happy to hear about what you're doing and how we can help. But I guess I'll just finish by saying I can't really overstate how important shipping and fulfillment is to your e-commerce business. The best e-com businesses are absolute experts. So it's kind of the last thing that you want to think about when you're first starting, but it's such an important part and powerful part to your success. So thanks very much for listening, and I'd like to hand you over to Carrie from New Zealand Post for her part. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you, Hawker. Really appreciate that presentation. Couple of questions before we get into Carrie. Maybe Hawk, if you want to turn on your camera, that'd be cool. And we're just going to ask you a couple of live questions. Actually, a couple of ones that have come through. One is, how do you, when you're bulk printing on Starshipit, how do you identify, like a DLE versus an A4? It's actually a question that I want to know too. How do you differentiate that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first of all, you're going to have all of the weight of your product loaded in the back end of your Shopify store. So what will happen is, as the order comes into Starshipit, you can have a whole lot of packages, different sort of default packages set up in the back end. So you might have sort of 12 different package sizes already preset. And so as the order comes into Starshipit, we can automatically assign orders to different package sizes and different services with that particular carrier. And we do that, well, there's a few different ways, but we've got a really powerful rules engine. So you tell us the sort of logic that you were using to choose a particular service, and we can build a rule to automatically assign an order to a particular service or a particular package, based on that logic. And you can always override that decision later on if you choose to change your mind or use a different one if you want to.
Okay, and I'm guessing because eShip is a similar, or pretty much the same engine as Starshipit, so that would be the same for eShip too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And okay, so a curly question I've got, and I was just actually lying awake last night thinking about curly questions I could throw at you. So I apologise in advance. What about volumetric weight?
Yeah, so volumetric weight is an interesting one. So again, we're going to pass all of the details to the carrier, but what we're generally sort of saying, particularly when it comes to live shipping rates on your checkout, I think that's probably what you might be sort of referring to. If you've got a particularly volumetric product, then there's only really a weight field in the back end of Shopify. So what I would suggest is you're actually working out the greater of the two in advance and putting in the greater of the two into that weight field, so that we're passing all that information to the carrier, but we're using the greater of the two, either the volumetric weight or the dead weight.
Yeah, so work out your volumetric weight first, and then that's what the weight is, rather than the actual weight of it. Right.
If you've got a particularly volumetric product, then it's a good exercise to do.
Styrofoam heads.
Yeah. The pillows are a great example as well. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that. I'm going to crack on to Carrie's presentation, and then I know we've got a bunch of questions. What we're trying to do also, the people, the panelists, when they're replying to you, hopefully they're going at your reply. If we haven't answered your question, it's probably because it's an awesome one, and we are going to look at that at the end at Q&A. So I hope everybody's okay. Hope everyone can hear it. Sorry about the blurriness. but we'll just crack into Carrie's presentation because I'm really excited to hear what NZ Post are doing and have got to share.
Hey everybody, I'm Carrie, one of the product managers here at New Zealand Post. Firstly, a huge thank you for the opportunity to come along and speak to you today. I'll be talking about our recently launched e-commerce report, The Full Download, our product offer, and one of our shipping solutions, eShip. I'd like to start by sharing some key insights from our Full Download report, which is just launched on our website. This is an annual report with an in-depth review of e-commerce in New Zealand during 2019, and it focuses on consumer behaviour and key trends that will enable you to make better informed decisions to help grow your business. Following COVID-19, we're also supplementing this report with a monthly white paper series. The full spotlight will cover how COVID-19 impacted e-commerce in New Zealand. So I'd like to summarise the key outtakes comparing 2018 to 2019. We saw 13% growth in online spend and 2.4% growth in total retail spend. Kiwi spent a total of $4.67 billion online. We saw 17% growth in online spend with Kiwi retailers compared to 5% growth in international spend. We saw 16% growth in transactions across Q4, so that includes Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas and Boxing Day. So it's a really good time to start thinking about what you've got planned for October onwards. The average basket size has increased by 5.1% to $107 per transaction. The Full Download report does dig deeper into spend by demographic, so if you are thinking about offering free shipping based on cart spend, take a look and it could be really helpful for you. There was a massive 105% growth in spend using buy now, pay later services, and a 19% increase in South Island spend, with a particular lift in male shoppers. And my favourite of all is we now know that 50% of New Zealand adults are shopping online. I'd like to talk about our product offer sending within New Zealand. We have New Zealand's most extensive delivery network, reaching over 2 million delivery points. So that includes residential, business and rural addresses. We offer both courier post overnight and Pace Express options that you can consider for your shipping. So one tip here is also to consider how you name your shipping options in your Shopify store. So within your settings, there's quite a large character limit where you can add in delivery expectations as well. So that might help your customers choose a shipping option. Our Parcel Collect service allows your customers to have parcels delivered to over 380 destinations. That includes most Countdown supermarkets, Z petrol stations, and to our post shops. So having these delivery options provides a better customer experiences by improving first-time delivery. You can send from the convenience of your home office or with scheduled or on-demand pickups. And our online solutions mean you only pay as you send. I'd like to talk about returns as well. So providing your customers with simple and effective returns processes helps to remove any risk of purchase and increases the trust with your brand. So with our 2 returns options, you can print a return label and send it with the order, or you can choose to generate one on request as well. And you'll only pay for the return if the customer does send it back. You can have the item picked up from your customer by one of our couriers, or they can drop the item at one of our retail locations if that's more suitable for them. You can choose from overnight returns or economy for inter-island deliveries. And with our parcel post tracked returns, you can have the items delivered to your private bag as a consolidated option. And with courier post returns, you get a fully tracked service with signature required as an option. So to help you choose which returns product might be the most suitable for you, consider the value of the product and the level of compensation we provide. as well as the time frame in which you'd like the item to be returned to you. We've pulled together here 5 key tips that should help you create your returns policy. So describe your returns policy in really clear and simple terms, and take the time to get this right, as it will be a key reference for you and your customers. You can customize different returns policies for returns within New Zealand versus overseas. Take steps to enable all of your channels to accept returns. For example, in-store and by courier. Give your customers flexibility and options. Know your customer and what they want in a returns experience. So if you're using any voice of customer apps, or you're doing regular surveys, check in on customers and how their experience is going with returns, and reassess your policy. Get creative around the cost for shipping a return. So you can think about only offering returns for your loyal customers, or you could do this based on a certain category where you don't need a premium service. So options to consider are building your returns cost into your base price, or you can pass this cost on to your customers. And lastly, stay current on what's happening in the returns market, especially with your key competitors. So moving on to our international products, taking your business to the world is easy with New Zealand Post. Our international services are available through the same labelling solutions you use for domestic sending, so you can utilise the same courier driver to pick up all of your items. We have a wide range of options that provide access to send to over 220 destinations all around the world. This range covers everything from a more cost-effective untracked item right up to courier services offering full tracking and a faster delivery. Many of our services are also charged on the actual weight of the item as opposed to being charged volumetrically. Our Go Courier range is ideally suited for e-commerce, providing local look services to key destinations. That includes Australia, the US and the UK. This gives you more options in terms of competing with local e-commerce merchants, and includes features like local delivery options and the ability for returns as well. So as Hawk mentioned, eShip is a branded version of Starshipit. It's exclusive and free for New Zealand Post customers. You can integrate eShip with your Shopify store, so all of your orders automatically pull through. So it's then super easy to print your labels individually or by bulk. And don't worry if you make a mistake or need to print a bunch of labels for training purposes, because you're only charged when the courier makes the first scan. If you're also just starting out with eShip, you can print labels onto A4 paper and then step into a new printer as you grow. You can set up rules that allocate your orders to our various delivery networks as well. eShip shows you real-time status updates of your parcels. And if you are integrated, eShip will send the tracking number back to your Shopify store, and that can be really handy for your order confirmation notifications, or if you do need to track the item further. Within your settings, you can also set up and send eShip notifications by email or SMS. I'd also like to talk to you about New Zealand Post parcel notifications. So your customer's experience continues right beyond the checkout through to the point of delivery. So the New Zealand Post parcel notifications gives your customers peace of mind by knowing where their parcel is, and that means you can spend less time dealing with delivery inquiries. The notifications are sent as your parcel moves right throughout our network. So that includes the collection of the parcel, when the parcel is out for delivery with our couriers, when the parcel is delivered to either an address or a collection point, and if we've attempted a delivery. Our notifications also include features like parcel leave, which is where you can tell our couriers where to safely leave a parcel. Email notifications are free with all New Zealand Post accounts, with the option to upgrade to SMS. I'd also like to share this quick video with you of a project I'm currently working on. So to the right-hand side is our address search plugin that verifies addresses in your shopping cart, and then it passes this information onto the checkout. So what this means is you won't have to waste time validating addresses in eShop or any downstream platforms. We'd also like to bring you solutions that help with rural delivery charges and allow your customers to collect from more locations. So if you would like to participate in user testing for this plugin, or if you've got any shipping pain points to share, I'd really love to hear from you. So please email me at parcels@newzealandpost.co.nz, and your feedback would be really appreciated. So thank you so much for taking the time today to learn more about shipping and how with knowledge this can become one of your superpowers. Take a look at the fulldownload.co.nz to get a copy of the report and all of the following white papers full of insights. I'm now going to hand back to Julian for the Q&A session. You may notice a few different voices from New Zealand Post on there as well, as we do have our experts in each of these areas on the call. Thanks so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Carrie. That was awesome. And if any of you have downloaded the full download, yeah, it's pretty deep. It's got some amazing insights. Great for learning about our industry, or maybe even you're looking at building a business in another one. It's got some great ones. And also hearing about what New Zealand Post is doing with all the information from COVID that they've collected and getting that to us quickly is I'm really excited as a merchant, and obviously working at Shopify. I'm really excited to see what COVID did. Carrie, if you can put your camera on, I'm just going to turn off my screen share so we can stop seeing a green screen. Hello, kia ora everybody. And we have a few other panelists. If you'd like to maybe introduce yourselves first, you know, who you are, what you do, and that would be great, I think, for everybody to know you. Please turn your camera on as well so people can see you. It'd be great.
Yep, I'll jump on. Hi everyone, I'm Rob Wood. I'm an eShop specialist from New Zealand Post, and I've worked with New Zealand Post for 9 years.
Hang on, is that Rob, like support Rob from eShop?
Yep, that's the one.
This is the guy that's helped me countless times with my e-shipping problems and has been the best customer service representative ever on the planet. You're on our webinar. I can't believe I'm talking to you. That's so cool. Sorry, I'll stop my gushing. I'm a big fan of you, Rob.
Thank you.
Big fan. So anyway, I'll turn off my mic. Thanks, Rob. Lovely to meet you. You're in good hands with Rob. I'm very excited now. We've got Rob on the webinar. Who else have we got?
Hey guys, you've got the rest of the New Zealand Post team here. Most of us in a room together. So you've got myself, Brendan. I look after the domestic products here at New Zealand Post. Next to me, we've got Jared from International.
Hi, I'm Jared from International, looking after the international product.
Hey guys, I'm Mert, domestic product.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Hey, thanks guys so much for jumping on this call. I know shipping's a major issue for everyone in New Zealand. I'm known for maybe not avoiding the curly questions, so I'm going to go straight into it. I think Carrie, broached the topic before with what New Zealand's Post doing with the plugin. I'd love to know a little bit more about how you could help solve our rural delivery issues. What's New Zealand Post doing in that space?
Yeah, awesome. So what we're doing from the plugin perspective is we've just built a MVP product that solves the addressing issue. So we know that merchants spend way too much time having to validate addresses in eShop. So the plugin uses our parcel address API. So that's our nationwide database of addresses. And that will pull through a valid address into the checkout. So you won't need to validate anything downstream. And then building features on top of that plugin, we're looking at how we can use rural postcodes. So you can set up flat rates especially for rural. So that means that you won't have cheeky shoppers selecting a standard rate and not rural. So it would automatically do that. We're also looking at how we can pull our parcel collect offer into the plugin as well. So that means, say I type in my valid address, it still might show me some other areas in which we could deliver that parcel to as well.
Awesome! I'm really excited to see what's going to come with that. I know it's been a major merchant frustration, and one of mine. Yeah, I'm talking to the guys at Shopify about like what would it look like being able to just add and two shipping costs with another field. So you could add like a surcharge on top, but I haven't had any feedback on that. Hey, I've just put out a little poll just asking people what, if you could quickly have a look at that and choose your option, like which is your main New Zealand domestic delivery option that you use. It'd be great just to get your feedback on that. That'd be awesome. I'm going to leave the poll running for another 4 seconds. Yeah, great. Thanks for that. Okay. And right, next we're going to get into questions. Okay.
Maybe Jules, I hope you don't mind. I might just jump in there. I think there's a bit of a theme in some of these questions, which hopefully I can help answer in a bit of a group.
Jump away.
Group. Yeah. So look, there's a lot of talk around the pricing of Shopify and what's involved with the different features and that sort of thing. So there's a couple of things there. So first of all, the actual integration between eShip and Starshipit and Shopify user. So integrating those softwares with Shopify, that can absolutely be done on the basic Shopify plan. You don't need to upgrade your plan for that integration to work at all. The only time you would need to sort of upgrade your plan or pay an additional fee to Shopify is if you wanted to enable those carrier calculated rates at checkout. So that's one particular feature that they have, Shopify has gated for the higher plans. But I think, as Jules said, sometimes they will ungate that feature for I think, what did you say, Jules? Was it $20 or something?
Yeah, 20 US extra on any plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully that sort of cleared that up. And I think the other one that someone was asking as well about the rates being shown. So those would be in New Zealand dollars as far as the freight estimates that have been returned from courier post or different carriers that are available to see on your checkout. They'll come through in New Zealand dollars for a New Zealand merchant.
Awesome, thank you so much. I've just got another question here. I'm just going through it. Sorry, has anyone else got a question they want to answer? I'm just literally going through them. I feel like we've added that you've just answered most of these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I liked about both your presentations was talking about the post shipping, and I wanted to kind of get feedback on the attendees as well. How many people actually have a returns policy? I wonder. I know for my business, it's kind of been something that is kind of an afterthought. But does anyone that's attending this webinar, do you have a returns policy? And if so, has it improved for you? Improved, maybe return customer rates and so on. That's one question I've got. Anyone else want to share a question?
I'll just jump on one that was sort of answered a little while back, but it's around a customer that or a merchant out there that has actually, they've gone and got some good rates with a particular carrier, and they're sort of asking, what's the benefit? So what I would probably just like to highlight is, those rates that you've gone and got from directly with the carrier, they absolutely apply. So we we're not reselling any rates from a Starshipit point of view. So 100% of our sort of customers, they will go directly to the carrier, that the one that you mentioned in there, and you can bring those rates with you, and you're certainly not penalised. In fact, we insist that you do. So yeah, that would be one thing I would mention. We're not reselling rates from a Starshipit perspective. So it just gives you the ability to hold that relationship directly with the carrier. You'll be invoiced directly by them, and it's particularly when something goes wrong, it's really nice to be working directly with the actual provider, rather than perhaps going through an aggregator or a middleman that's reselling services like that. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you for that. You kind of bring up a good point, though. If you're with an aggregator and you're getting a really high quality, a good deal on a particular freight rate, it can, but you do want to go to an actual, to the actual freight provider. Have you got any suggestions on how, I guess, is it just you have to have more, you have to be able to ship more, to get better pricing? Or I'm just trying to work out a way of how to, if you wanted to exit the aggregator, how would you, what would you recommend?
Yeah, well, look, I'll throw that over to probably the guys at New Zealand Post. That dealing with them directly is absolutely the way to go. Do you guys, someone want to pick that up from NZ Post? Gary, are you there?
So, Kerry, the question is if I want to pull away from an aggregator, and I want to start a relationship, let's say, with New Zealand Post, just because you're here, how can I get, parity on the rates that I've got from the aggregator? What do you suggest? How do I start a relationship with a company like yours?
I think the best thing is just to reach out to us, and we'll put you in touch with a business manager that will come and meet with you, discuss your needs of your business, and then it's sort of up to the business manager to provide the best rates for you.
Okay, and that's typically done on volume, right? Would you look through, what if you're seasonal? Like, what if you you did most of your shipping over a period of time? Would you be able to select a good rate because you have a spike?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one in terms of seasonal, but there are definitely brackets between volume. But again, it's probably best for us to put you in touch with the right business manager in your region, and they can talk to you about that.
Is that the only way I can get a New Zealand Post account? It's just by contacting you and having a business manager come out, or can I apply online and get rates that way? Or
yeah, we've just launched Business Self-Serve, which is for smaller volume customers. But as soon as you move into sort of that next bracket, we provide you with a business manager for additional support.
Cool, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And there is a sign-up form on the New Zealand Post website as well, where you can request an account be created, and an account manager will reach out to you.
Great. Could you put that link on the chat?
Yeah, I'll just go grab it.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob. If anyone hasn't used eShip before, Rob's great at helping you sort your problems, by the way. We've got a lot of questions around freight rates. I don't know if I think they'd probably be best maybe answered via an account manager, guys. Is that right? Or you're right to hit those sorts of questions?
Yeah, I think on that. So we can pick that one up if you like, Kerry. I think it's best definitely if you've got a question on rates, get in touch with us at business inquiries at nzpost.co.nz, and that will put you straight in touch with the team here who can sort out a New Zealand Post account for you and provide you with pricing. Or alternatively, Kerry touched on this, we have a new solution online called Business Self-Service, which will allow you to sign up straight away and basically ship using your credit card, essentially within seconds. So that's a really quick way to get going. But over and above that, yeah, business inquiries at nzpost.co.nz is the best place for that.
You want to share a link?
Yeah, if you could share a link, that'd be great. Also, one other quick question while you're still there, NZ Post. What about non-profits? Do you guys deal with non-profits?
Yeah, we do have we do have teams who manage the way that we I guess work with the community and initiatives like that. So again, best thing is you can get in touch with us through the same address, business inquiries at NZ Post, and let them know what you're up to, and they can channel that through to the right team to decide whether there is a portfolio that would sit into, or whether we'd be able to work something out for you. So yeah, it's at the same place, business inquiries at NZ Post.
Awesome. And one more question that I don't know if you have the answers to, but Dave's asking, can NZ Post explain the delays internationally, please? And for example, what countries are bad? I don't know if that's something that you could speak to, but I know during COVID there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff happening around sending products internationally. Maybe would you guys be able to talk on that? Maybe give us some advice on how to avoid, or maybe,
Yeah, no, I can definitely sort of address that. So we did just post a link to our website in the chat as well. We did see fairly big delays to some destinations during COVID as sort of the airline capacity dried up. We are seeing that recover quite significantly now. So to most destinations, we've got fairly good performance again. And we are sort of seeing more regular shipments and being able to access those flights and access internationally with a minimal delay. The only ones that I'm aware of at the moment that are of significance are actually Melbourne, just for the last couple of days with their lockdown. But otherwise, everything else is on our website with the sort of up-to-date delivery timelines.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. These are all good to know. Are there any, if you want to ask the last question, please put it in the chat now. Oh, hello. Hi there. Quick question. Is there a way to print NZ Post shipping labels from Shopify? Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment, we don't have a direct way of doing that from within Shopify, but there is actually a solution available through Starship. So I'll flip to Hawk for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can, within the Shopify dashboard, you can fulfill your orders, print your New Zealand Post, Courier Post labels. Yes, absolutely. The answer is yes. A couple of other ones which I might just jump in on as well. So the autocorrect feature, which I sort of pointed out, the address autocorrect feature. Yep. So that's available in from within your Shopify dashboard and within Starshipit itself. So you can bulk autocorrect those addresses in both platforms. This is I'm talking about once the order has been placed. And yeah, someone was asking about the different couriers that are supported within Starshipit. So we can send that information out afterwards, I think, Jules. But yeah, certainly there's a wide suite of carriers here in New Zealand. So the likes of DHL and Aramax as well, and of course the New Zealand Post family, Courier Post, Pace. Hope that helps.
Got a question from Paul saying the product is great for larger companies shipping to New Zealand, or what about small startup shipping overseas? What anyone would recommend? Anything? I think I'd probably jump on this question. I would, if I was shipping overseas, I would try and have a relationship with a carrier and start that way. If you've got less than a couple of hours worth of time to process the orders, then I wouldn't necessarily look at these solutions. But then if you find yourself spending a couple of hours doing manually filling out things, then I think it is probably prudent to check this out, because it's just going to save you time. It's also going to make you look more professional as well, even with the post shipping as well.
Yeah, I'd just add to that as well. Having a relationship directly with the carrier is, particularly when it comes to international shipping. I mean, there's a lot of tricky stuff comes up around customs and that sort of thing, and having someone so close to the source is going to be is going to be really helpful. These guys are, absolutely experts when it comes to, different customs requirements and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'd back that up for sure.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Paul's based in a rural location, 40-minute drive to drop off 30 to 40 parcels a month. Sounds like it could be interesting. Maybe if I was running the shipping on that, I would state that you have a delivery cycle. So maybe going into town, every 3 days or so, maybe on a Monday and a Friday, to mitigate the you having to drive in until such time as you need someone to pick up your products. But 30 to 40 parcels a month sounds like it's just on the bracket that potentially you could use this for, and then you'd have the courier turn up to your place.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely, and I mean, we can always arrange for, depending on where you are, like rural drivers, etc., to come and collect those products from you as they would deliver to you.
Awesome. Hey, I know we're 5 minutes over time. One last question, because I want to get as much in as possible. Do we need to sign up with DHL before signing up with Starshipit? Well, can you sign up through Starshipit?
So you do need to sign up with DHL first and bring an account, but if you're having any troubles there, we can certainly I can certainly help sort of move that along if you need to. So yeah, absolutely reach out to me, hawkun.steele@starshipit.com, and I can help there.
Yeah, and I'll put that on there too. If you're having issues with courier companies like IF, if the salespeople haven't got back to you from DHL, maybe reach out to either me, Hawk, or Carrie, and we might be able to shake the tree for you and hustle some people to help you with your shipping. So I'd like to close by thanking you, Hawk, you, Carrie, and the whole of NZ Post. Shout out to my man, Rob, for being a bloody legend. And for you, dear merchant, for coming to this presentation. This recording will be up live will actually be emailed to you and also up live on Shopify newzealand.co.nz page. And if you've got any feedback around the presentation, or if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll pass them on to the appropriate person. If you'd like a one-on-one strategy session also with me, feel free to go to shopifynewzealand.co.nz and click the link. It's been a pleasure. Really, thank you for coming to these. If you have any ideas of what you want to see, hit me up, julian.bartram at shopify.com. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, Hawk. Thank you, Kerry. Thank you, New Zealand Post. You've been amazing.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Ka kite.
See you.
Take care. Bye.